G'day. Today we'll go through step by step how to install a reverse camera on your vehicle, whether it's for ease of towing, using your tow bar to hitch up a caravan or trailer, or whether it's for safety so you don't run over your dog. A reverse camera is a great way to enhance your vehicle. Now I picked this one up for about 20 bucks on eBay. Let's see how it performs. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is a reverse camera compatible screen. I bought this one and fitted it in this video a few months ago, and I did not fit the reverse camera, but now I wish to fit the reverse camera. You can buy them in a combo, and it's probably best if you're gonna do it all at once. You don't have to pull this back out like I'm about to do. But if you have done, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this back off. We're gonna access the reverse camera cable, and we're gonna run our cable from the back of this screen out through the dash to the back of the car where we wish to plug in the reverse camera. So let's start by doing that. I'll remove this fascia, and we'll plug it in. We basically just put the fascia back on. It shouldn't be too much of a drama. Everything that comes in the kit is here. We get the reverse camera, which is night vision and waterproof. You get all the cabling that you need to run through the car. There's quite a bit of cabling there, enough to run through the Hilux with some to spare. And all the positive wiring that you need to jump into the reverse circuit. Comes with an adhesive mount and 2 screws, which I didn't use. I mounted it with a bracket. And it comes with this white and green wire here. If you cut the white wire, it flips the image so it can be used as a forward-facing camera, and if you cut the green wire, it removes the parking marks. Okay, so this here is the one we want. It's the only yellow plug of its kind behind here. We're going to plug this end in, and we've got our red power wire here as well we're going to attach. Okay, the trigger wire is pretty easy to find on this particular one. It has reverse written on it. We're going to connect that one to this one. And then I'm going to connect the other side to a battery I've got here so we can test the camera before we run it all the way through the car. Okay, so I've just twisted those two together so we can just make sure everything works before we make any permanent connections. And I've got a battery down here that I'm just going to connect the 2 positives from these wires to simulate going into reverse, and this screen should change and we should see what the camera's looking at. So let's give that a go. Oh, hang on, my fingers are a bit loose here. There we go. Hey, and that's our camera there. Lovely. And if I grab that camera, everything's backwards. That's because we haven't cut the 2 wires. If we cut the green wire and the white wire, it will remove the parking marks, and it will also flip the image so it is a forward-facing camera if that's what you want it to do. But in this case, we're going to use it as a reverse camera, and it will be flipped that way up because it's mounted upside down. You can see the battery there that I've rigged up. But that's how it works. It works, so we'll make all these connections permanent, and we'll run these wires through the car to the camera at the back. All right, I'm just going to crimp them together like that because these are good enough. Now, we'll run a little bit of electrical tape on that, but that's just going to make our connection. We'll put all these wires back behind the dash. We're going to drop this wire back under there like we have. This can all go back together, and we'll route the wiring through the cab. Once we run that wiring underneath the dash, we're going to run it down here through these little tread plates. And we're going to use a grappling hook here just to push underneath the trim and pull the wiring through. And then we're going to go behind the back seat, push this grommet out here. We're going to put a slit in this grommet here and join all 3 wires together, push the grommet back in to keep any water out of the cab. And then we're going to run the wire just underneath the tub here. I'll put some conduit on that later just to stop it rubbing through, and there's the end that we need, and that'll join to the camera. Now I initially had the camera mounted this way up just to test it out, and the image is actually upside down. Cutting the wire will only flip the image for front and rear viewing. It won't flip the image on its head, on the y-axis. So we need to turn the camera manually. It has to be mounted this way up. We don't really have a choice. So I might have to make up a little bracket under here just so I can mount it that way up. Okay, I've drilled a couple little holes here, and I've made a little bracket out of aluminium that we're just going to mount here for the camera, because obviously we can't mount the camera the other way up, so that's what we've kind of been forced to do. I'll screw this in, we'll see how it looks. Okay, so that's mounted up now. Let's go ahead and wire it up. Alright, I've hooked up my battery again, and I'm pretty happy with how it's gonna look. I can see the tow bar, which is important for lining up with trailers, as I do. That's got a floodlight on it there. Now this claims to be a night vision camera, so let's turn the floodlight off and let's see how it looks like when it's dark. Okay, so we've got the floodlight on. Like I said, it is actually quite dark out here. If we turn this off, other than the shed lights, we shall see how it looks in the dark. That's not too bad for night vision. It is quite dark out, and the camera has compensated. You get a bit of a grainy image because the sensor is turned right up, very sensitive to taking as much light as it can, and you get a bit of a grainy image, a bit of noise in the background. But that actually looks pretty good for night vision, and obviously we'll have reverse lights, and that helps. So let's hook it up to the reverse circuit and be done with the job. Okay, so we need to identify a reverse signal to turn the camera on and off again once you come out of reverse. The easiest way is to find the reverse light, and we're going to use the harness from the reverse light circuit to power the camera. Now the camera doesn't draw much current, it shouldn't be a problem at all. In my case, this reverse light assembly here, we can drop it out of the back of the tub. There's 2 bolts and 2 pins, and identify the harness. We need the positive and the negative in which to connect our camera to. So once I drop it out here, we can see the sub harness, the white with black stripe and the red with blue stripe. The white black stripe is the negative, the red with blue stripe is the positive side of this circuit. So we're going to tee into the sub harness, not the main harness that we can see here. It's a bit more clean if you're in the sub harness of the assembly. Now I've got a splitter here. It's a Deutsch splitter where we've got 1 input and it can create 2 outputs. So we can put positive and negative into here, separated by 2 pins, and it will give us 2 positives out and 2 negatives out on both sides of this Deutsch plug here. Very easy and clean way to do it without using a Scotch lock or anything like that can cause issues. So we'll put this Deutsch plug together and we'll tee into this harness and drop the wires that we want back out through where that main harness comes out and connect to the camera that we are about to fit. Now from underneath here we can see I've taped the 2 connections together because they're just pushed together. So I've taped them up and then I've taped them together as well. We've got some conduit here and some cable ties. We're just going to tidy up the harness. Any sharp edges, we're going to make sure there's no areas we can vibrate against and damage the cable. Just tidy it all up. We've run it through, which is fine, but we want it tidy and we want it to be safe. Just test it out here. We'll chuck the car into reverse. It's all built and finished now. This is all complete. And look at that. We put it in reverse and the camera comes on and we can see what we normally wouldn't have been able to see before. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching.